Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl betting preview, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we get into it. Now, everybody's doing Super Bowl preview videos, so we're just going to go through the process that we always go through. We're going to do the exact same thing that we do during the regular season. We're going to take a look at the betting markets. We're going to take a look at props. We're going to take a look at DVOA. We're going to take a look at the full-on Vegas market. I'm excited, and we're going to be using Caesars for the betting menu, all right? Now, the Super Bowl betting menu is absolutely insane. It is so thick, so deep, that no one's going to be able to find every single prop, every single bet, every single whatever. So I've obviously been looking at it for 2 weeks. So we're going to talk about some stuff that interests me and some stuff that I may be playing come Super Bowl Sunday. Okay. First things first, the betting market, betting splits. So the betting splits, now, the Super Bowl is a really interesting event because some of the rules that apply during the regular season do not apply in the Super Bowl. One of the biggest universal truths that we use throughout the regular season is that the money or the line is usually moved or almost exclusively moved by sharp or respected money during the regular season. Usually the public doesn't affect the line too much. That's not the case in the Super Bowl because it is the most publicly bet game in the world ever, every single year. And sometimes the sheer volume of bets that are coming in, it can affect the line. So normally, and this is called steam chasing in sports betting, but normally steam chasing means you're trying to follow the sharp money. You're trying to follow where the steam's going. Sometimes in the Super Bowl, there is no steam, all right? So here's what the splits are. 56, and this is DraftKings, 56% of bets, tickets, are on the Chiefs. 52% of the handle are on the Chiefs. At Circa, 56% of bets are on the Chiefs. 68% of the handle is on the Chiefs. Pretty significant. Now, if you look at the odds board, opens 1.5 at DK. And now it's moved. DK's chilling. DK's got a little bit of liability on the Eagles. But it's moving towards the Eagles. Okay? So if this was the regular season, we'd be sitting here going, well, wait a minute. If more bets and more money are on the Chiefs on both ways, especially at Circa, then why is the number going towards the Eagles? Why this would be reverse line movement is what this would be. It's not. No one's going to 2. No one's even threatening to go to 2. Right? They're hanging out at 1.5 or dropping to 1. All right. So, but again, because of the Super Bowl, I'm not going to put as much stock into that. Now, I have tricked myself into siding with that the Eagles are going to win this game. Everyone seems to be saying the exact same thing. Everybody is saying, well, yeah, Philadelphia is better. Well, yeah, Philadelphia has the better defense, the better offense, the better playmakers, the better weapons, the better this, the better that, best roster in football. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm with you. I hear you. And yeah, it's probably not wise to go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but I do think the Eagles are the better team. And no doubt about it. It's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes, but I kind of like the Eagles. Now let's take a look at DVOA real quick. All right, DVOA, defensive DVOA. Number 1 team in the NFL, Philadelphia Eagles. Kansas City Chiefs are the, let's see here. They are the 20th in DVOA. Now, playoffs and regular season, you can debate that. Pass defense, the Eagles are 2. The Chiefs are, where are they? Where are the Chiefs? The Chiefs are 17. Rush defense, the Eagles are 2. The Chiefs are 9. All right, the Chiefs do stop the run well. Chris Jones is the man. Okay, so something to think about. I mean, like that right there. It's like, all right, you got the better defense, better pass defense, better run defense. Let's look at the offense. Go to offensive DVOA. Offensive DVOA, this is going to be heavily skewed to the Eagles. Eagles are the 13th offense. This is kind of surprising. They're the 13th offense. KC is 8th. That is shocking. Passing offense, KC is 11th. Philly is 14th. Running offense, Philly is 6th. KC is 12th. Yeah, that is very surprising. But that doesn't make any sense. Like, it feels like that makes no sense. It feels like Philadelphia is a much better offense. Then team total DVOA. So DVOA has Philly at 5 and KC at 7. Okay. Now, and we're going to talk about this more with the player props, but if you look at the defense versus receiver, this is where I'm going to get involved. Okay. DVOA versus tight end. All right. KC really struggles against tight ends. Philadelphia is pretty good against tight ends. Philadelphia is 3rd in the NFL against tight ends. KC has struggled all season long with Brock Bowers or who the hell ever. So the first player I want to target is Dallas Goedert. All right, first player I want to target. This is going to be so hard to navigate this with the way that the Super Bowl board is. So let's try and find. Let's go view all. Bada bing, bada boom. Receiving. Where is it? Okay, receiving, player receptions, Dallas Goedert, 4.5. So that's the first thing I'm looking at, because what do we know the Chiefs do? We know they're going to blitz. We know they're going to play man. We know that they're going to put pressure on Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts has to get the ball out of his hand quick, if he has to make a quick decision, if we assume his knee is still relatively banged up, then I would assume that he's going to be looking at Dallas Goedert. Let's take a look at Dallas Goedert's. So he's at 4.5. And again, the Chiefs do struggle against tight ends, which helps too. So let's go to Goedert. Now, I want to focus more on playoff numbers than the regular season. Playoffs teams tend to stick with what works. Dallas Goedert, 8 targets, 7 receptions, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 6 targets, 4 receptions. So he's actually going under this number 2 out of 3 games in the playoffs, but his target share, pretty strong. All right. And these are in, like, obviously wins. So more running the ball. If you think Philadelphia is going to be trailing, if you think KC is going to win, it's even more of a reason. It's even more of a reason to back Dallas Goedert here. Now, let's take a look at some more stuff. So if we assume that Saquon is not going to be able to run as much because either A, the Eagles are losing, right? Because they're the dogs. Or 2, because the thing that the Chiefs do well is stop the run. If we assume that, then we have to look at the pass catchers. Okay? If we looked at DVOA, let's see, what was the Chiefs' passing defense? Let's see. Let me check. So their passing defense is weak. All right, 17th. Okay, below average. So if they're below average in pass defense, and we know that the Chiefs are playing man, we know they're blitzing, we assume they're going to be able to stop the run better than most, then that's going to lead us to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. All right, let's do it this way. So A.J. Brown's receptions are 4.5 at FanDuel, 5.5 everywhere else. So to open 4.5, I got it at 4.5. I think I bet Rivers, and now it's moved. 5.5 is a little expensive, but I would certainly lean that way. And it looks like the market is leaning that way. Receiving yards, it was 68.5 earlier the week. I got 68.5 at Rivers, still 68.5 at BetMGM. It's now moving up 71.5 at DraftKings. So I like his yards. I like his receptions. And Devontae Smith, same thing. Devontae Smith, more of a yards kind of guy. I think he's less of a volume receiver and more of a big play receiver. So his receptions, 4.5. I'd be lukewarm on that. Receiving yards, I would be bullish on. I would look towards getting a piece of 49.5. Maybe even his longest reception of 20.5 is the way to go. You can get it on one play, right? So I kind of like that. I like Dallas Goedert. I like the idea of laddering Dallas Goedert. So we talk about laddering all the time where, like, I'll show you on Caesar. So you can go, so 4.5 is his receptions, right? So if you think Dallas Goedert's just going to go absolutely nuts, you go to his alt receptions, And where is he? Here's right here. So then you would go, so you already have 4.5, right? So then you would go like 6 plus. So you go 6 plus, 7 plus, 8 plus, 9 plus, and you'd put like half a unit 6 plus, half a unit 7 plus, a quarter of a unit 8 plus, a quarter of a unit 9 plus. That's what I mean when I say laddering. And you do it with yards too. If you think, well, AJ Brown's going to have 100 yards, you would take his yardage prop, which whatever, 68.5, 69.5, but then you would go, okay, well, I'm also taking 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus, 100 plus. That way you can maximize the return if your game script prediction is correct. Okay, so I like AJ Brown. I like the idea of this Devontae Smith longest reception. I got to remember that. Now let's flip it to, okay, so let's stick with Philly. Philly is unique because Philly, there's only so many plays. All right, so Philly is going to give a ton of work to Saquon Barkley. We know he's going to get 80 to 90% of the running back share. What we don't know is how much Jalen Hurts is going to run. So Jalen Hurts, the tush push exists, which in this game, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and goal, 4th and 2, 1 yard, 2 line, or 1 yard, 2 yard line, you're going to tush push. Like, you are going to do what got you to the dance, all right? There's no saving people for next week. There is no next week. So even though we know Saquon's going to get 80 to 90% of the work, in those short yardage, give me guarantee spots, I would assume Jalen Hurts is going to get that work. And, I mean, you know how it is. Like, Jalen Hurts can end up with 12 carries, and 10 of them be tush pushes or 1 yard, like 1 yard runs, 2 yard runs, where he's just trying to pick up a first down or score a touchdown. I lean Jalen Hurts over 8.5, but the problem is now, all right, well, now you have Saquon. Let's say he gets 22, 23 carries. Let's say Jalen gets 10-ish carries. Now all of a sudden you're like, well, damn, that's 30-something plays. How the hell is A.J. Brown going to get 5 catches? Devontae Smith going to get 60 yards? Dallas Goedert going to get 8 catches, 9 catches? So you do have to scale it back a little bit. And that's where like the game script and all that stuff comes in. KC and Philly are both teams that chunk it up, that chew up clock, that run the football, that methodically go on drives. So be careful of that when you're looking at these props. If these teams aren't going to have 95 plays each. These teams are very happy to, especially in the second half, like when you're talking about the Super Bowl, in the second half of a Super Bowl, if you have a lead, you are more than happy to just kill clock, just crush clock. So, which takes me to this. One thing I love betting, I'll probably be able to find it on Caesars, is the game to start really slow and the game to start just kind of with nothing. So I like the idea of the first quarter. What's the first quarter under? So 9.5. If you can find a 10, that'd be pretty sweet. Take the under there. They used to have the no score in the first 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I don't know if they do that anymore. They used to all the time. That was a great maybe time. Score, yeah. So like score in first 6 minutes of the game, no stuff like that. I love that because these, like the Super Bowl. Think about the pomp and circumstance. You've got all this stuff happening all week. You got all this stuff happening pregame. You got all these nerves. You got longer commercial breaks. You're kind of out of order. I think teams want to just kind of get into the rhythm, and they use that first 10 minutes or the first quarter to get into a rhythm and to kind of like get their adrenaline going, make it feel like a football game, right? So I like the first half to be very low scoring. I like the first half to be low scoring, feel it out, slow, methodical, whatever. And these teams are already slow and methodical. So score in the first 6 minutes of the game, I would lean no. And I would also, if you can find second half to have more points in the first half, I like that as well. We'll have to, again, go through these props. I don't want to eat the video up with me searching for these props. So shortest touchdown yardage, under 1.5 yards is -200. With a team like the Eagles and tush pushing, you would think this is going to be pretty strong. So you would also lean shortest touchdown yardage under 1.5. All right. Let's see what else we got. So let's talk about the Chiefs. All right. So what are the Chiefs going to do? Like, what do we think? How are the Chiefs going to attack the Eagles? So I've been very down on Isaiah Pacheco. So we've all, if you've been watching our betting previews all playoffs, we've been taking his under longest rush. We've been taking his under first rush. We've been taking his under attempts. We've been taking his under yards. And I plan on doing that again. So his attempts are, this is super low. All right, I'm not taking this. I think the last time we took it was 9.5. Maybe the longest rush. Damn, last time I took the longest rush was like 11.5. You might have to find, let's see if we can find first play or whatever it's called. A lot of books have your first rush player. Let's see. Total rush. But it's usually 3.5 yards. So if you can find like Isaiah Pacheco under first rush, whatever, 3.5, 4 yards, I like that idea too. Let's see, first half, first quarter. You could also look at matchups. So a lot of books have matchups too, where it'll be like Saquon versus the Chiefs or Dallas Goedert versus Travis Kelce, stuff like that. So you can get after it that way as well. But these numbers are super low. So I don't expect the Chiefs to be able to run the football. All right, so the Chiefs are going to have to throw the football. The Chiefs are going to have to find a way to beat the Eagles with Patrick Mahomes through the air. Okay, so if we assume Mahomes is going to be dropping back a lot, we already know the Chiefs are kind of a dink and dunk type team. I would lean towards the over on his completions. The problem you run into here is you have two teams, again, who are very, very happy to kill the clock and very happy to just end the game, kill the clock, drain the clock, all that stuff. So you do get into, especially if the Chiefs are winning, but with how good Philadelphia is against the run, I think it's worth something here to look at that. If you look at his rushing attempts, something else Mahomes does in the playoffs is run. We know that. We know that he'll go pick up a first down if he has to. He'll leak out and run if he has to. Let's take a look at what he's done so far in the playoffs. Let's see here. So we got Mahomes. Okay, so in the playoffs, 11 carries against the Bills for 43 yards with a long of 12. Against Houston, 7 carries for 14 yards and a long of 15. All right, which means he had a couple of kneel downs or a couple of negative plays. If you go and look at like big games, so like I said, this game against Cleveland, 21-7, none of these stats matter. So you got to find pivotal games. A pivotal game would be something like a tight divisional game, or a close game like against the Ravens, right? Close game, starts the season. You want to win this game. He has 2 for 3. Okay, then he has 4 for 29 against the Bengals. Now he starts running. Okay, 6 for 17, 5 for 12, 6 for 22, 5 for 39, 6 for 17. His longs are all around that like 15, 13, 14, somewhere in there. You boost it up for the playoffs because it's must have it. And you can see the reflection of that. 7 carries, 11 carries. His 2 highest rush attempt games are in the playoffs. So we can assume he's going to run. We can assume he's going to be running all over the place. 5.5 seems low. And that's not even factoring in kneel downs. All right, one of the worst beats I've ever taken in my entire life was was in the Super Bowl with Mahomes against the 49ers. I had his over rushing yards, huge bet. He's over it by like 20-something yards. And then he kneels down, and he loses like 15 or 16 yards on every kneel down. And I end up losing that by 1 yard. Absolutely horrible beat. So if you're afraid of the kneel downs, which I don't blame you, I'd stay away from the yardage. I would go rush attempts over 5.5. I love that. Man, Rivers is like shading to the under, but Rivers is minus 109. Love it. Longest rush. Okay, so 12.5 is probably worth it. 13.5 is a little bit much because we've seen he does leak, and he does get these like 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 13, 15. He's right there. Okay, so that tells you like he's scrambling out, trying to pick up that first down, getting the first down, getting out of bounds. 12 is that neighborhood. 13.5 is asking a lot. So 12.5, I'd be interested in it. 13.5, probably not. And then the rushing yards I'm staying away from because of what I told you earlier. Okay. So what is all this like? How else can we get after this? All right. You can get after this with stuff like MVP. Okay. So, we went through kind of the game script. Now, you don't want to take Mahomes or Barkley. Like, I'm not going to sit there and sweat out 2-1, something like that. So you try and find a little bit of value, all right? So where's the value? Like, where's this value that we're talking about? Who have we talked about that could have these huge games? A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, these players, all right? So that's who I'm looking at for the – And like when you're taking these kind of bets, like you're taking these big value bets, kind of like what Cooper Kupp got MVP with the Rams. He was like 8-1 or something like that, 5-1, somewhere in there. You're trying to find, okay, who has the most value that makes sense. And I think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. If you think the Eagles can win, like I said earlier, I think the Eagles are going to win. If you think the Eagles can win / are going to win, then you're probably looking there. And you might say, well, if the Eagles win, doesn't Saquon get it? Doesn't Jalen Hurts get it? And we just talked about. Well, what do the Chiefs do? The Chiefs are good at stopping the run. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs have only given up 100 yards to one running back the entire season. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that's it. Mixon had 88. I wish there was a faster way to do this. And I think it was Lamar Jackson. Cook had 85. I'm pretty sure Lamar had 16 for 122. Someone double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So we know they're going to stop the run. We know they're good at stopping the run. So Saquon doesn't really make sense. Jalen Hurts, I hear you, but Jalen Hurts is not afraid to have a 16 for 31, 170-yard kind of game. And if he has one of those kind of games, or even like a 210-yard game, but 100 of those are to A.J. Brown, who ends up with 8 or 9 catches and a touchdown, if 100 of those are to Dallas Goedert, who gets 10 catches and 2 touchdowns, that's how you get these 80-1, 28-1, 45-1 MVPs come home. Now, if you're on the Chiefs side of things, it's hard to imagine they win without Patrick Mahomes being the MVP, but Chris Jones, Kareem Hunt, like maybe, like if you want to just sprinkle it, if you want to get cute, okay, but hard to imagine the Chiefs winning it with how we described like what Philly's going to do. It's going to be the Patrick Mahomes show. It's hard to imagine the Chiefs winning it and Patrick doesn't get the MVP. As far as Travis Kelce, so we talked about the Eagles were really, really good against tight ends. They're really, really good defensively, I was all about Noah Gray last week, and it blew up in my face. So his numbers should be even lower. So if you're looking at Noah Gray, if you're looking at like, okay, well, who's Mahomes going to throw it to? Like, who's going to get after? If Travis Kelce's covered up, if they're really good at this, you got to find like a team that is really good defensively against the pass. I think it enables like their 4th and 5th read to get catches. Like that's when fullbacks get catches. That's when like 2nd, 3rd tight ends get catches because they're so good against that base package. You have to get super creative, and who gets more creative than Andy Reid off of an extended break? So this is the game where Reid has this much time to prepare. I guarantee you're going to see Xavier Worthy runs. I guarantee you're going to see Noah Gray or Samaj Pirine or players like that involved in the passing game. So I don't hate Noah Gray over 11.5. I don't hate over 1.5, I'm guessing. Yeah, over 1.5. I don't hate that. So I'd take a look at that. Let's see what Xavier Worthy's rush is. Just checking here. Player rush yards. 6.5 is insane. No, I mean he might hit it, but damn. Does he have a longest rush? Let's see. No, because it'd probably be the same, right? But that's how I'm kind of looking at this. Again, like we could make a 4.5 hour long video with this, with just how much is all the stuff you can bet on, the coin toss, the national anthem, the halftime show, all of that. But this video, I wanted to kind of give you what I'm building out currently as far as the script, what I'm currently building as far as the game script and what I'm looking at and how the portfolio might shape up. And obviously follow on Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff for like get my actual bets and whatnot. But I can tell you right now, what I have in the portfolio is A.J. Brown receptions and yards, 4.5 and 68.5. I have Dallas Goedert, 4.5 receptions. I believe that's what the portfolio looks like right now. Something else that I'm interested in, I thought about it today. I like the idea of the alt line. Okay, let's go to, where's the spread? Okay, so now bear with me. If you believe the Eagles are going to win, then you have to a certain extent, your universal truth has to be that the Eagles can do what they want to do. And it's working, right? They can run the ball, they can stop the run, they're stopping the pass, whatever. The Eagles are a team that when they win, if they can have success, they're so efficient at that. Like they're so efficient at running the football, they're so efficient at all that they just kind of naturally blow teams out. And they just naturally put so much pressure on a team that like their front four is so good on the defensive line. If they force a team into having to just throw from, play from behind and throw, that usually is benefiting the Eagles, and it makes it even worse for the team that's trailing. Some teams have trouble holding leads, whatever. The Eagles aren't like that. So if your argument is, well, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have won 17 straight close games, the Chiefs have done this, the Chiefs have done that, I expect Patrick Mahomes to win at the end, then you stay away from the current line because the current line is so close. The current line is +1 or -1, depending on what side you're on, or +1.5, -1.5, whatever. So what I like the idea of is you extend it a little bit and you give yourself an alt line of like Eagles -6.5, right? +205. Because I'm thinking if the Eagles shock the world, I think they could put it on Kansas City. What would surprise me is if the Eagles won on like a last second field goal. Because one, it's Nick Sirianni, it's like that's not exactly where you want that team as a close type game. And two, because if it's a close game like that, I assume the Chiefs are going to win. So it would surprise me if the Eagles win on a last second field goal. It would not surprise me if the Chiefs won on a last second field goal, right? The Eagles are much more likely to win in that situation. What would surprise me is if the Chiefs won by like 10 points, 14 points, 7 points. If you told me the Eagles win, I'm going to assume they win by 7 or 10 points. Because like I said, I'm not going to assume they win by 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. So if you take the Eagles, you might want to extend it a little bit to take them -6. The reason I picked 6.5 is because it gets you under 7, obviously. Like 7.5. 7.5 is much different. 7.5 is an ass whipping in the Super Bowl. So 6.5 +205, 6.5, 2-1. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Let's look at some other ones real quick. Touchdown score. I don't really mess with a lot of that. Passing touchdowns. Rush. Now, I do like the idea of like first touchdown. Let's see here. I don't hate the idea. Like a good first touchdown, I think, is like Mahomes. 18-1. Mahomes on a scramble. Mahomes even like a sneak or something. I could see that. I could absolutely see that. Mahomes 18-1, Goddard 18-1. Those are pretty nicey. Those are nicey. If you're in that market, Samaj P. Ryan even kind of nicey. But I always look for that when it comes to first touchdowns. Noah Gray, I just mentioned him. I never play the like 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. I always go for like these down here. I want to say I saw somewhere it's like the last 5 Super Bowls, the second receiver has scored the first touchdown, which would be like Devontae Smith, which would be like Hollywood Brown or DeAndre Hopkins, something like that. especially a team that's so good against the run in Philadelphia. If you think the Chiefs score first, like they're probably going to have to do it with either, Mahomes run around for it or one of these receivers. So kind of throw a dart. Noah Gray, who says no? But interesting stuff, man. Like the Super Bowl, I remember back in the day, probably 9 years ago now, you would go to the book, and at the time I was living in Biloxi, I would go to the Hard Rock, and they would print out upon request. This is before apps and stuff were legal. They would print out on request. They would print out this huge book of props, and you'd have to go and just flip through. A lot of fun, man. But now you can just do it online, search it all, whatever. But yeah, a lot to get into. We'll be covering the Super Bowl all weekend. We've been holding back a lot of Super Bowl coverage because of all the Kellen Moore news, but also because literally every other content creator /show /podcast /whatever is doing this. So, but we're gonna fill it up this weekend just so everything's out there. Right now, like I said, I'm leaning towards the Eagles. I think they're the better team. I think they're the better roster. I totally understand Andy Reid, all of extended prep and Patrick Mahomes in the big game and whatever. But yeah, I like the Eagles. I think the game script is right there. I like the idea of the game script. I think there's also a bet out there. It's like, will there be a field goal made? Let's see. Distance, longest, shortest. Field goal made in fourth quarter. There was one, it's like, will there be a field goal made in the last, 6 minutes of the fourth quarter? But I like the idea of field goal made in fourth quarter. Minus 180 is a little expensive, but I do like it. I like that one. So think about that one. The touchback, opening kick as a touchback. Those are always interesting because you can get some intel. You can get some intel on how how the balls feel. What teams want to do. Do they want to just say, hey, everyone's freaking out, let's just let it be a touchback and let's get it going? Or so the more intel you can get, you can kind of be there on the right side of those. Let's see, do we have missed field goal in every quarter? That is insane. That would be so hard. Team with first made field goal, team with most made field goals, distance. Okay, so there's just so much, man. So much. But yeah, field goal made in fourth. I like that. I like that a lot. I also don't hate the idea of overtime. I'm not going to lie. But will I bet it? I don't know. Punts. Let's see. Team with most punts, longest punt, first team to punt. Yeah, wild stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You can look at sacks. I'll say this too because Jalen Hurts' knee is busted up. So you would think if he's under pressure and he's getting that pressure, he's just going to go down. So you could try and find something there. Karlaftis with a sack. Where's he even at? I thought I saw sacks. Maybe it's down here. Here it is. Let's see. Yeah, Karlaftis with a sack is minus 120. So Zach Bond plus 500. Not really what he does. He's more of it's not really his MO, but team that commits first turnover of the game. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. There you go. Trying to walk through some props, walk through some stuff there. Let me know in the comments below what you're looking at, what you're interested in, what you think you might hit, what you think you might add to the portfolio. I will see you in the next video.